Welcome to all of you, Shiksha 360, and today basically we will start chapter number 7. That is basically this chapter is compilation of different institutions. Clear, different institutions. Like I will write here one name is that is Reserve Bank of India. Clear. So there are also some other institutions like Exim Bank and ECGC. Clear, and ECGC. Clear. Basically we will discuss regarding that also, and we will discuss under that regarding FEMA. FARA. Clear, regarding all these things basically we have to discuss under that. Clear, regarding all these things basically we have to discuss under that. Clear. So basically let's start today basically with the respect to the Reserve Bank of India. Clear, that is basically guidelines of Reserve Bank of India regarding the foreign transactions. Clear, regarding the foreign transactions. Clear, basically one thing you have to remember that basically in this basically we will discuss some important under that. Basically we will discuss some important, we can say that important limits, like how much amount basically we can remit to this country or how much amount basically we can remit to this country. Clear, basically these limits will change time to time. Clear, basically these limits will change time to time. So basically you have to go through basically like whatever basically we are discussing limits here, you have to just remember basically if there is any update in that, basically we will provide you latest circular regarding that in the group. Clear, basically latest circular regarding that in the group, or basically we will take one short session regarding all these updated limits. Clear, but you have to remember till now these limits. Clear, but you have to remember that till now that limits. Clear. So let's start our discussion. So basically role and exchange control regulations in India. Clear, role and exchange controller regulation. Clear, basically who is exchange controller regulation in India? That is RBI. First question in the examination they will ask basically who is the exchange controller regulation in India? So that is basically RBI. Clear. So basically Reserve Bank of India having headquarters in Mumbai, established by Hilton and Young Committee. Clear, basically being the central bank. Clear, basically being the central bank of the country, is empowered under the statute. Clear, is empowered under the statute to control and regulate. Clear, you have to remember basically they have the power to control and regulate the foreign exchange reserves. Clear, basically to control and regulate the foreign exchange reserves and policies. Clear, foreign exchange reserves and policies basically related to international trade. Clear, related to international trade, inflow and outflow of foreign exchange, as also has supervisory powers. Clear, as also have supervisory powers over the persons authorized to deal in foreign exchange. Clear, and also have supervisory powers basically over the persons authorized to deal in foreign exchange. Clear. So basically we can say that in the nutshell basically all the control is under the RBI. Clear, basically here all the control is under the RBI. It has also the responsibility. Clear, basically it has also the responsibility of maintaining the external value of rupee. Clear, basically of maintaining the external value of rupee. It means that basically they have to control the value. Clear, they have to control the value. Like we can say that $1 is equal to rupee 64 and $1 is equal to rupee 65. Clear. So basically there, basically when the $1 is equal to 64 and now the dollar is reaches to 65. Clear. So basically this led to the devaluation of the currency. Clear, basically this led to the devaluation of the currency. So what is the meaning of devaluation? Clear, basically earlier under 64 rupees we have to purchase one thing. Clear. Now basically we have to pay one more rupee. Clear, basically now basically we have to pay one more rupee. So that is basically leads to the devaluation of the currency. Clear. So basically how to control the value of the currency, basically it also basically based on the, it is also the responsibility of the RBI. Clear, it is also the responsibility of the RBI. Basically like we can say that basically how they can control basically to reduce the import, or second one basically increase export. Clear, all these things basically they have to do here. Clear, all these things basically they have to do here. Clear. So basically it is the responsibility of maintaining the external value of rupee and thus can issue instructions basically on the subject of exchange control from time to time. Clear, and thus can issue instructions basically on the subject of exchange control from time to time. Clear, basically all this role is to be played by the RBI. So basically, under which guidelines or under which act RBI has a power to do all these things? Clear? Basically, under which act or under which power basically RBI has to do all these things? Basically, exchange control. Clear? Exchange control was introduced. Clear? When it was introduced, basically exchange control was introduced in India due to certain constraints. Clear? Severe constraints of foreign exchange. Basically, when during the Second World War. Clear? Basically, during the Second World War, 1939 to 1945. Clear? You have to remember the time period. Clear? Just for understanding. Clear? Basically, during the Second World War, that is before independence, with the defense of India rules. Clear? Basically, one time they will ask what is the full form of DIR. Clear? DIR 1935 they have written. So basically, DIR basically defense of India rules. Clear? Issued as a legislation. Clear? Basically, under the defense of India rules, we can say that this is one act. Clear? So exchange control was introduced in India basically due to certain constraints of the foreign exchange during the Second World War. With the defense of India rules, DIR 1935 issued as a regulation, issued as a legislation. Clear? And after that, basically, there are some acts are formed earlier. Basically, there is FEMA, FARA of 1973, and later on, basically, this act was repealed, FARA was repealed, and new act was formed, FEMA, in 1999. This was effective from 1st of January 1974, and this was effective from 6th of June 2000. Clear? Clear? If anyone has issue regarding the voice, then you can rejoin again. Clear? So basically later on, clear? Basically later on in 1973, clear? Basically later on in 1973, the rules were modified. Clear? Basically the rules were modified. Clear? Basically later on in 1973, the rules were modified and introduced as an act. Clear? Basically and introduced as an act. Clear? Later on in 1973, the rules were modified and introduced as an act, that is FARA 1973, basically which came into effect from 1st of January 1974. Clear? Basically which came into effect from 1st of January 1974. Clear? Basically further, with the opening up of the economy. Clear? Further, basically with the opening up of the economy, the FARA 1973. Clear? Basically this act was repealed. Clear? Basically this act was repealed and a new act, basically FEMA, was introduced effective from 1st of June 2000. Clear? 1st of June 2000. Clear? Basically that previous act was repealed and a new act was introduced. Clear? Basically in the examination, basically like yesterday I have said that basically on 6th of Feb, I think many of you have appeared or not, and don't know. Clear? Basically students who have appeared in that, basically they know that basically in that exam, basically they will ask what is the difference between the FARA and FEMA. Clear? 1 mark question. Clear? We have to discuss regarding that also. Clear? Basically we have to discuss regarding that also. Basically what is the difference between FARA and FEMA. Clear? Basically there are some things are same and some things are changed. Clear? So basically they have asked how the question, basically they will ask, basically they can say that which of the following is correct. Clear? Which of the following is correct among that. So they have given 1, 2, 3, 4. Clear? Like they have given 4 options. So first, second, or 2. Clear? Like A option is first and second is correct, B option is first and third is correct, or C option is first, second and third is correct. Clear? So basically in this way, basically they have asked the question in the exam. Clear? Basically they have asked the question in the exam. Clear? So basically we have to remember all these things while preparing for the questions. Clear? So let's start move further. So basically FEMA regulations. Clear? Basically what are the FEMA regulations and some other penalties basically which we have to understand here. So as per the section 11, clear? So as per the section 11 of the FEMA 1999, Reserve Bank of India, clear? As per the section 11 of FEMA 1999, basically Reserve Bank of India is empowered. Clear? Reserve Bank of India is empowered, basically given power to give any direction. Clear? Basically to give any direction with regard to making payment. Clear? Basically to give any direction, basically with regard to making payment or doing. Clear? Or doing or resist, not desist, basically, or resist from doing any act. Clear? To making payment or doing or resist from doing any act basically relating to foreign exchange or foreign security. Clear? Basically all the guidelines. Clear? Basically whether we have to do that transaction or not. Clear? All these things basically I have mentioned under basically which under the FEMA. Under the FEMA section 11. Clear? From doing any act basically relating to foreign exchange or foreign security Basically for what purpose? Basically for the purpose of securing compliance, clear? For the purpose of securing compliance under the provisions of the FEMA, clear? For the purpose of securing compliance under the provisions of the FEMA and any rules, regulation, notification or directions made there under, clear? So basically if they are saying that if you are not follow the guidelines, clear, or not compliance these guidelines, basically you have to pay the penalty, clear? You have to pay the penalty, and these are the main questions basically which they will ask in the examination, clear? So under section 11.3 of the FEMA 1999, basically RBI may give reasonable opportunities, clear? Most probably basically we have to discuss in detail mainly FEMA 1999, clear? FARA is already repealed, so basically we have to not discuss in detail, but we have to discuss basically what are the limitation in the FARA, clear? Basically what are the limitations in the FARA, that's why due to that basically we have to repeal that, clear? So basically under section 11.3, clear? Basically definition is given under section 11.1 and guidelines regarding basically penalties basically given under section 11.3 of FEMA 1999. RBI may give, clear? Basically RBI may after giving reasonable opportunities, clear? Basically RBI may after giving reasonable opportunities of being heard, clear? Basically RBI may after giving reasonable opportunities of being heard impose on the authorized person, clear? Basically of being heard imposed on the authorized person basically a penalty, clear? Penalty of how much amount? Basically a penalty which may extend, clear? A penalty basically which may extend to rupees 10,000, clear? Basically how much the amount basically which they will impose, that is penalty of rupees 10,000 basically for not complying, clear? For contravention of any direction, clear? Basically for contravention of any direction given under FEMA, clear? For contravention of any direction basically given under FEMA, or failure to file any return under this act, clear? Or failure to file any return basically under this act, clear? So basically under section 11 of the FEMA, clear? Basically under section 11 of the FEMA, if any person, clear? Basically if any person is not compliant, clear? Regarding the guidelines, clear? Regarding the guidelines, then they have to pay as a penalty of rupees 10,000, clear? As a penalty of rupees 10,000 basically for contravention of any direction given under FEMA or failure to file any return under this act, clear? And if they continue doing this thing, clear? If they continue to doing this thing basically in case of continuing contravention, clear? An additional penalty, clear? An additional penalty basically which may extend up to rupees 2,000 per day, clear? An additional penalty basically which may extend up to rupees 2,000 per day basically for which such contravention continues may be imposed, clear? If they are continuously not complying the guidelines, clear? If they are continuously doing the work and they are not complying the guidelines, so basically they have to pay as a penalty rupees 2,000 per day, clear? Rupees 2,000 per day basically for such contravention, clear? For such contravention continues may be imposed, clear? You have to just remember that basically definition regarding the FEMA for doing all these activities is given under section 11.1. And for penalties, clear? If not complying guidelines, basically they have to pay penalty of rupees 10,000. And if they are continuously doing these types of things, clear? Then they have to pay additional rupees 2,000 per day, clear? Then they have to pay additional rupees 2,000 per day basically for which such contravention continues may be imposed, clear? So basically further, as such, the Reserve Bank of India, clear? Basically, as such, the Reserve Bank of India issues various guidelines, clear? Basically, initially, basically, we have discussed, basically, Reserve Bank of India issues various guidelines under the DIR, clear? Defense India Rules, clear? This one, DIR, Defense of India Rules, clear? Clear? So basically, the Reserve Bank of India issues various guidelines under the APDIR series circulars, clear? Basically under the APDIR basically series of circulars and other circulars or issues specific directions to any authorized person, clear? To any authorized person, clear? DIR, Defense of India. Clear? You can ask if you have any doubt at any place, clear? But please ask. So as such, basically the Reserve Bank of India issues various guidelines regarding the APDIR series circulars and other circulars, clear? Basically, and other circulars or issues specific directions basically to any authorized person from time to time to safeguard the interest and provisions, clear? Basically to safeguard the interest and provisions of FEMA and to comply with the responsibility put on RP under the Act. Clear? So the guidelines and directions basically so issued. This one is the second question. Clear? This one is the another question basically which they will ask in the examination. Clear? Regarding what they will issue the guidelines or directions. Clear? Very, very important. You have to remember that. Clear? Regarding what basically they will issue the guidelines. Clear? These theoretical type chapters. Clear? Basically they will ask these questions. Clear? From theoretical, these from basically from these theoretical type of chapters, basically we will expect these types of questions. Clear? So let's move further. Basically the guidelines. Clear? The guidelines and the directions. Clear? Basically the guidelines and the directions. Basically one student is what is a full AP is authorized person. Clear? Authorized person. Clear? That is AP. Clear? So the guidelines and directions so issued. Clear? The guidelines and directions so issued relate to foreign exchange transactions. Clear? The guidelines and directions so issued basically relate to foreign exchange transactions, that is relating to exports, imports, remittances. Remittances basically means that basically we are funding to the other country. Clear? Not under India. Clear? Not in India. Basically we are sending funds to the other country. Clear? That is basically known as remittances. Clear? Travel and tourism, investments in India, repatriation of funds, non-resident Indian segment, as also overseas investment by Indian residents. Clear? All the guidelines and directions basically are issued by the Reserve Bank of India. Clear? Regarding all these things, basically guidelines are issued by the Reserve Bank of India. So let's discuss once again basically the guidelines and directions so issued basically relate to the foreign exchange transaction. Regarding that is exports, imports, remittances, travel and tourism, investment in India, repatriation of funds, non-resident Indian segment basically as also overseas investment by the Indian residents. Clear? So another important task. Clear? Basically another important task handled by the Reserve Bank of India. Clear? Basically another important task basically handled by the Reserve Bank of India is compilation of data. Clear? Basically is compilation of data. Basically regarding what? Clear? Regarding what? Basically compilation of data. Basically compilation of data related to the export import trade. Clear? Related to the export import trade. Clear? Forex markets, non-resident deposits. Clear? NRI deposits, we can say that. As also international assets and liabilities. Clear? As also international assets and liabilities. Clear? Basically before moving forward, there is one word that is repatriation of funds. Clear? Repatriation of funds. So can anyone tell basically what is the meaning of that? Repatriation of funds. Like we can say that basically if any Indian is working in any other country, like we can say that in USA. Clear? So basically when the person is sending funds, clear? Basically sending funds from the USA to India. Clear? That is basically known as repatriation of funds. Clear? That is known as repatriation of funds. Clear? Basically when we are receiving any funds from any foreign country, clear? Or when we are sending the funds from India to any foreign country, that is basically known as the remittance. Clear? So you just have to remember basically what is known as the remittance and what is known as repatriation of a fund. Clear? So now let's discuss here once again. So basically another important task. Clear? Another important task basically handled by the Reserve Bank of India is compilation of data. Clear? Is compilation of data regarding what? Basically related to the export import rate, forex markets, non-resident deposits, as also international assets and liabilities. Clear? And also international assets and liabilities. Clear? So the data collected. Clear? The data collected by RBI. Clear? The data collected here by RBI basically from the authorized dealers goes into compilation. Clear? The data collected by the RBI basically from the authorized dealers basically goes into compilation of national level data on international trade, status of forex flows, and overall international assets and liabilities of the country. Clear? And overall international assets and liabilities of the country. Clear? So this data, clear? This data basically being crucial for management of international trade relationship as also the value of rupee. Clear? Because from that, clear? Basically from this data, basically we have to analyze the value of the rupee. Either the value of the rupees appreciate or depreciate. Clear? It depends upon the export import. Clear? How much we are doing trade regarding that. Clear? So basically that this data basically being crucial for management of international trade relationship as also the value of rupee. Clear? As also the value of rupee is called for by RBI under FEMA regulation. Clear? Is called for by RBI under FEMA regulation and strict penal action. Clear? And strict penal action basically imposed for non-submission, wrong submission, or delayed submission. Clear? And strict penal action basically imposed for strong, basically for non-submission, wrong submission, or delayed submission. Clear? Like all of you are basically working in the banks. Clear? So basically you have to submit different reports to your higher authority. Clear? To your higher authority. Clear? Like we can say that compliance of all the guidelines. Clear? So you have to submit the report that basically we are complying. Clear? If you are submitting the wrong guidelines. Clear? So basically you will face issue in the future. Clear? You will face issue in the future basically when there is some, basically when there is any non-compliance of these guidelines. Clear? Basically earlier you have submitted that basically you have compliant, but later on basically when they will check you are not complying that guidelines. Clear? So that is the same thing basically they are saying here. Clear? So let's move basically what are the reports basically they have to say that to submit. Clear? So data, the data is to be submitted to RBI. Clear? One question basically we will expect from these. Clear? From this and from the next slide. Clear? So the data is to be submitted. Clear? The data is to be submitted to RBI basically in the form of returns or statements. Clear? The data is to be submitted basically to the RBI in the form of returns or statements, and some of the which are the returns or statements. Basically first one is the R return. Clear? First one is the R return, that is basically submitted fortnightly. Clear? Data on forex operations. Clear? Basically R return, it is basically related to what? Basically data on the forex operation, and this has to be submitted fortnightly. Clear? Basically we can say that after every 14 days. Clear? Next one is BAL statement. Clear? Basically balance statement, we can say that basically it is a statement showing balance in the nostro and vostro accounts. Clear? Balance statement, and it is basically showing the balance in the nostro and vostro accounts. Clear? Basically we will provide you the circular basically of the RBI under which all these things have to be mentioned. Clear? Next one is stat 5. Clear? Stat 5, stat 8. Clear? You have to remember both. This is very, very important for the examination 5 point of view. Stat 5, it is basically the data on transaction related to the FCNRB deposits. Clear? Related to the FCNRB deposits. Clear? Basically there are different types of accounts which we have to discuss in the chapter number 3 regarding basically foreign accounts. Under that basically FCNRB deposits. Clear? This is basically the account has to be maintained in the foreign currency. Clear? This account has to be maintained basically in the foreign currency. Clear? Stat 5. Clear? The data on transaction basically related to FCNRB deposits. Clear? Next one is stat 8. Clear? Stat 8 is related to what? Basically it is the data on transactions. Clear? It is the data on transactions in NRI and NRO deposit accounts. Clear? Basically stat 8, it is basically the data on transactions in NRI and NRO deposit accounts. Clear? NRI and NRO deposit accounts. Clear? Next one is basically NRD-CSR. Clear? NRD-CSR. Clear? Basically it is the consolidated data. Clear? This one, it is basically the consolidated data on non-resident deposits. Clear? It is the consolidated data basically on non-resident deposits. Clear? That is NDR-CSR. Clear? Next one is IBS. Clear? IBS is basically stands for the International Banking Statistics. Basically stands for the International Banking Statistics, and it is a quarterly data. Clear? It is a quarterly data on all international assets and liabilities. Clear? It is a quarterly data on all international assets and liabilities. Clear? Basically IBS, basically International Banking Statistics, basically it is a quarterly data on all international assets and liabilities. Clear? Next one is statement of remittances. Clear? Basically statement of remittance, basically how much amount basically we have to remit. Clear? So basically statement of remittances basically sent under liberalized scheme. Clear? For a residence. Clear? Earlier basically this limit is 2 lakh USD 2 lakh, but now this is enhanced to rupees 2,50,000. Clear? Basically statement of remittance basically sent under liberalized scheme basically for the resident, basically presently that the USD 2,50,000, that is they have to submit monthly. Clear? They have to submit monthly. Clear? Next one is statement of trade credit. Clear? Basically statement of trade credit, that is buyer's credit and supplier's credit. Clear? Statement of trade credit. Clear? That is buyer's credit and the supplier's credit, and they have to submit also monthly. Clear? Basically they have to submit also monthly. Clear? Now next one is the XOS. Clear? XOS. Clear? That is basically half yearly export outstanding statements. Clear? Basically this is half yearly export outstanding statement. Basically it shows all overdue bills. Clear? Basically it shows basically all overdue bills, basically which are not realized, clear, basically which are not realized, clear. So half yearly export bills, clear, that is basically half yearly export outstanding statement, basically showing all overdue export bills remaining unutilized, clear. Next one is BEF, clear. Next statement basically which we have to discuss here is that is BEF. BEF basically it statement, clear, statement showing details of imports, clear, basically what we have import, clear, where remittances have been affected, clear, basically where remittances have been affected, but proof of imports, that is bill of entry, not submitted by the remitter, clear, but bill of entry, clear, basically bill of entry is not submitted by the remitter, clear, that is known as basically BEF, clear, basically BEF, clear, that is statement showing details of imports, clear, statement showing details of imports, basically where remittances have been affected, but proof of imports, clear, basically but proof of import, that is bill of entry, clear, but proof of import, that is basically bill of entry is not submitted by the remitter, clear, is not submitted by the remitter, clear. Next one here basically that is FEMIS, clear, basically FEMIS, clear, basically that is daily data on forex dealing room operations, clear, basically this is daily data on forex dealing room operations, clear, basically regarding how many transactions are done, that is basically comes under the FEMIS, clear, FEMIS, clear, FEMIS, clear. Next one basically ECB. Can anyone tell basically what is the expanded form of ECB? ECB basically stands for the external commercial borrowing, clear, external commercial borrowing, clear, report on, clear, basically report on actual transactions, clear, basically report on actual transactions on external commercial borrowings, clear, basically made under the FEMA, clear, report on external commercial borrowings basically made under the FEMA, they have to be also reported, clear, basically external commercial borrowings, we can say that basically this is a loan, clear, basically these are types of loans, clear. So basically they have to maintain data on that, clear, basically they have to maintain data on that. You have to just remember basically ECB basically stands for the external commercial borrowings, clear, basically ECB basically stands for the external commercial borrowings, clear, basically they have to provide the data on that also. So basically here basically we have discussed, basically let's discuss from the starting, basically we have discussed regarding the role and exchange control regulations in India, clear, basically what are the powers under the hands of the RBI, clear, basically what are the powers basically under the hands of the RBI regarding all these things, clear, basically regarding all these things, clear. So now let's discuss basically some questions regarding the same, basically what we have discussed till now, and I request to all of you please participate under that, clear, please participate under that. Basically we have to discuss all these things under that. Basically here one thing basically we have to left, that is R return, basically which we have discussed, clear. The Reserve Bank of India basically wide instruction issued in 2007 desired that the bank should endeavor to submit a single bank wide return, that is known as R return, clear, that is basically known as the R return. So now let's discuss the first question on your screens. Now basically the transactions in foreign exchange are basically regulated by, transactions in foreign exchange basically are regulated by Foreign Exchange Regulation Act, that is FERA. Second one is FEMA. Third one is DIR. Fourth one is all the above, clear, fourth one is all the above. So please tell fast what is the correct answer. Basically transaction in foreign exchange, clear, basically transaction in foreign exchange are regulated by the FEMA, clear, Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999, and this act basically was implemented from 1st of June 2000, clear. Earlier basically FERA, which was formed in the year 1973, enacted in the year, and basically implemented from 1st of January 1974, clear. Second one, for securing compliance, clear, basically for securing compliance with the provisions of FEMA 1999, which of the following authorities, clear, basically which of the following authorities have power to regulate the foreign exchange transactions, clear, basically which of the following authorities has the power to regulate the foreign, RBI, DGFT, FPDII, all the, clear, basically here the powers basically under the RBI, clear, here the powers under the RBI, clear, basically DGFT, it is a basically different institution basically which issue guidelines regarding the import export, clear, import export, or we have to, if you have to form export import export code, that is IEC code. Clear? Basically, this is also given by the DGFT. Clear? Basically, this is also given by the DGFT, and DGFT is basically working under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Clear? Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Clear? Here, basically, we have discussed regarding the for securing compliance with the provision of FEMA 1999. So, basically, which of the following authorities have power? That is basically RBI. Clear? That is basically RBI. Third one, basically, for contraventions. Clear? Basically, for contravention of any directions given by RBI under FEMA or file to return. Under that, clear, the RBI can impose fine that may extend up to rupees 10,000. Clear? That may extend up to rupees 10,000. Clear? So option number A is the answer. Clear? Hope all these three questions are clear to all of you. Clear? Basically, they will ask these types of questions in the examination. Clear? But just you have to understand all the concepts. Clear? Just you have to remember all the concepts. Clear? Fourth question on your screen now, basically, if the contravention, clear, basically, if the contravention of any direction, clear, if the contravention of any direction basically given by the RBI under FEMA, or to file any return under that, clear, or to file any return under that continuous, clear, basically, if they are defaulting continuously, clear, so the RBI can impose, clear, basically, in that case, basically, the RBI can impose additional fine, clear, that may extend up to how much rupees? Rupees 100 per day, rupees 500 per day, rupees 1,000 per day, rupees 2,000 per day. Clear? Basically, we have already discussed that it is to be rupees 2,000 per day. Clear? It is to be rupees 2,000 per day. Clear? Now, basically, we will move towards the question number 5. Basically, RBI can issue direction. Clear? Basically, this question they have already asked in the year 2019. Clear? This question they have asked in the year 2021. Clear? So, RBI issue directions. Clear? Basically, RBI issue directions or instructions to authorized person. Clear? RBI issue directions or instructions basically to the authorized person under dash series circulars. Clear? Under dash series circulars, basically we have already discussed under the DIR AP. Clear? Authorized person, defense of Indian rules. Clear? That is option number B. Clear? That is option number B here. Clear? Now move to the question number 6. Basically, this question is a little bit twisted. Clear? Basically, this question is a little bit twisted. So basically, RBI compiles. Clear? RBI compiles data on the basis of return. Clear? Basically, on the basis of returns from the authorized person. Clear? RBI compiles data basically on the basis of authorized, on the basis of returns basically received from. Clear? On the basis of return that is received from authorized person covering. First one is export import trade. Second one is forex market. Third one is non-resident deposits. Fourth one is the international liabilities and assets. Fourth one is loan pending disbursement from World Bank. Clear? Loan pending disbursement from the World Bank. Clear? Which of the following is not correct? Clear? Basically, which of the following is not correct? Clear? So basically, when we are discussing regarding the RBI compiles data on the basis of returns received from the authorized persons, clear, we know that basically we will not discuss anything regarding the World Bank. Clear? On that, basically, we will not discuss anything regarding the World Bank. Clear? So basically, here they are asking the same. Basically, which of the following is not correct? Clear? Basically, we know that basically we will not discuss regarding anything regarding the World Bank. So option number E is not the correct. Clear? Option number E is not the correct. So here there is no option number E. Here there is not option E. Here is not option E. Clear? So basically this is the answer. Clear? This is the answer. Option number D is the answer here. Clear? A, C, E. Clear? Option number D is the answer here. That is A, C, E. Clear? Because we know that basically loans pending disbursement from World Bank. Basically, RBI not compiles data. Clear? Regarding that. Clear? Basically, they have to compile data on the ECB. Clear? External commercial borrowings. But that are not related to the World Bank. Clear? That are not related to the World Bank. Clear? Now, question number 7. Clear? Which of the following does not match? Clear? Basically, we have already discussed that is there are returns. Basically, they have to be submitted. So basically, which of the following returns here does not match? First one is the R return. Clear? That is fortnightly statement on the forex transaction. This is correct one. The second one is BAL. Clear? That is BAL, basically balance statement, basically showing balances in the Nostro and Vostro account. This is also correct one. This is correct one. This is correct one. Clear? Stat 5. Clear? Stat 5 basically it is related to the data on transactions, basically relating to, there is little bit mistake, that is FCNR. Clear? They have to be submitted FCNRB deposits. Clear? They have to submit data on transaction related to FCNRB deposit, not NR deposits. Clear? So this one is a wrong. Clear? This one is the wrong. Clear? So they have to tell that basically which of the following does not match. So this one is the answer. Clear? Stat 5. Clear? Data on transaction related to NR deposit. This one is the wrong. Clear? So this one is the answer. Next one is stat 8. Basically, stat 8 is basically data on transaction related to NRE accounts. Clear? NRE or NRA accounts. Clear? So this can also be correct one. Clear? So option number C is the answer here. Clear? Option number C is the answer here. Clear? So basically in this session, we have to discuss up to this much point. Hope it is clear to all of you. And next, basically we have to start further in the next session. Clear? So thanks to all of you for attending this session.